till you're done.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, board members. My name, for the record, is Harvey Oyer, 525 Okeechobee Boulevard. I actually wasn't going to speak tonight because I wanted the community to speak for this project, not me. But I feel compelled to correct a few statements that were made earlier this evening for the record. There was a statement that I, quote, threatened demolition of this building in one of my statements. That is patently false. I've never threatened that. What I've said many times, dozens or hundreds of times now, is a fact that that building, the First Church of Christ Scientist building, is not protected in any way. And I think my statement is usually you could pull a demo permit today and there's nothing that could legally be done about it. And that is absolutely factual. So please correct the record. I'm not sure that there's anyone in this city, and certainly not anyone in this room, that knows more about and has devoted more of their life to historic preservation than me. I also heard the statement that, quote, related won't follow through on promises to the church. I think that's been resoundingly undermined by a broad cross-section of the community that came here to tell you what Related has done for them personally, their families, their business, and this community. I'll also point to a perfect example, an analogy. There's a church in our city from the same vintage, 1920s. It was the First United Methodist Church, and it sits in the middle of City Place. Today it's Harriet Himmel Theater, perfectly restored. It received the Florida Trust for Historic Preservation Award as the best restoration in the state the year it was completed by Rick Gonzalez and Dale Hedrick. And it is programmed every day of the year, perfectly adaptively reused. There's one example of a developer who has taken a historic church, rehabbed it, made it better, and uses it every day. And it's the same developer that someone said Related won't follow through on their promises. We also heard a statement that Related is just looking for handouts, asking for something from this city. Related is not the one that asked for tax increment financing for their project. They haven't asked for anything other than relief on the height. And they've granted an awful lot back to this community. An acre and a quarter of land that would be valued over $10 million that they'll pay to landscape, light, water, and fertilize in perpetuity, but we all get to walk on it and use it. Saving a church, creating an endowment fund to ensure that it will always be there. That is not a community member that's taking. Walk next door to the library and find where Mr. and Mrs. Stephen Ross, the chairman of this company, helped pay to build our library a few years ago. Walk across the street from this site to Palm Beach Atlantic University and see where Mr. and Mrs. Ken Himmel paid to endow a scholarship. Tomorrow morning, go to City Place and talk to the dozens of young kids, our youth, that are at City Place every day as part of a police athletic league program for kids during the summer, paid for by Related. So I want you to understand what the real facts are here. I also want to point out to you that you have in your hands the opportunity to do something special. I think we are at one of those moments in time, an inflection point in our city's history, and you can think of a few of them. Flagler putting a railroad into the middle of the jungle in 1894, City Place being built. I think we're at one of those moments where we go from being good to great or great to even better. And it's projects like this, forward-thinking, innovative developers like Related, and it takes leadership, and it's uncomfortable, but I predict that once this building is up, we're going to look back and everyone's going to say that was a no-brainer. Who could have possibly been opposed to that project and that idea? And you have within your control tonight part of that process. You're only the first part of the process, not the last part. In fact, if everything went in Related's favor and they were approved on the fastest schedule possible, they have a minimum of 7 public hearings to get this project approved. You're only the first. So I encourage you to let that public process, the vetting process that our code provides for and our American way of life provides for, to go forward. I appreciate your service and listening to all of this. I hope the gravity of this opportunity is not lost on you and your ability to make long-term decisions for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.